Hello everybody, this is your student Facebook meteorologist Sean Bagden here, and we're going to be going over the day 4 and final day of the week of Weather Challenge forecast discussion. For Grand Rapids, Michigan, we'll be continuing Grand Rapids next week starting Monday night with a forecast discussion, but we will continue to bring you real-time weather updates across the country. Looks like we'll be covering tropical weather for the weekend, just given the two areas of interest out in the Caribbean that could track into the Gulf of Mexico. But here's how our forecast did yesterday on day 2. High temperature ended up being 63 degrees. We forecasted 60 again, getting burned on the high temperature. We continue to forecast a good 3 degrees below what the actual high is going to be. So we're going to have to work out the kinks on that going into the final 5 days we have to forecast for in Grand Rapids. Also here, low of 47 degrees. That is something we've been doing very well on. We ended up almost nailing that right on the head. It did drop below 48 degrees, which we had forecasted in the last 5 minutes of the forecast period. Also, for winds, we ended up hitting 25 knots yesterday during a thunderstorm. It was a brief, sustained wind gust, but ended up hitting 25 knots, which we forecasted 24 knots, so that is pretty much spot on. About as spot on as you can get for forecasting thunderstorm wind gusts, and as you can see, went well above what everybody else did for a wind forecast. And then did not do too well with precipitation, missed on that by almost 1/4 of an inch there. But overall, we're in the top, 25% of all forecasters right now. Top 30%, we'll call it. And even more importantly, we are doing a little bit better than consensus right now. Below zero is considered you're doing pretty well at forecasting, and right now we've got a negative 1.56, so not doing too bad so far after day 3 is completed. So we're going to start talking about today, and if we have any time afterwards, we're going to start talking tropics briefly. So looking at College of DuPage satellite imagery, we can clearly see, here's where we're forecasting for. This is KGRR right here, Grand Rapids, Michigan. And we can clearly see our cold front axis developing right in here, right in front of that small dry ribbon of air that's developing behind this area of scattered showers and thunderstorms right here. And you can see that we are pretty much getting right into the base of, or right through the axis of this trough right here, which means very cold upper level temperatures, meaning we're not going to be seeing temperatures get very warm during the day tomorrow. And also, usually right in the middle of these trough axes with cold Arctic air, you see an area of high pressure leading to suppression of cloud cover and dry air aloft, which we can clearly see funneling in right here on anticyclonic flow. Right here, just off to the west of the high pressure, which is centered somewhere in here behind the cold front. You can see it just barely with that anticyclonic flow, but that's going to clear out the skies right behind this front in a big way, and we'll likely be seeing frost through the period tomorrow. With a setup like this, winds will be going light behind the front with clear skies, leading to perfect radiational cooling processes to occur. And storm track will remain off to the south and west throughout the period tomorrow due to the fact that we have this driving jet streak, which is really making this which is really making this trough axis dig down, and could lead to increased wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico for potential tropical storm Gamma to get sheared apart by. So that's always good news to hear. So we'll leave it at that. We're going to start out with forecasting our low temperature. But first off, we are going to hop onto our models here and make sure our models are on point when it comes to our current conditions. We're going to be using the 18Z NAM here. So we're going to see, that's not really what I want to see. I want to see the NAM 3K. There it is. So we're going to use the 21Z initial conditions here, 3 hours from the issuance of this model run. And there you go. There's your 540 line, 5,000 foot temperatures dropping below freezing across the area right now. So here's KGRR. Let me get this set up for you guys really quickly. I'm not even in my account, so we're going to have these ads popping up for a brief second. Actually, hold on. We're going to get these ads out of here, and we're going to log into the Pivotal Weather account. Very cheap right now, so I'd hop on that if you're interested in it and like Pivotal Weather. Here we go. Now we'll get this set up. KGRR. Okay. So, 21Z, let's see what our actual conditions were. We're going to head over to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and UTC time. We want 21Z. Here we go, 21Z, and we have 55 over 64. Or 55 over 46. 55 over 46. And this would make sense right here that our dew point temperature is 2 degrees cooler and our actual ambient air temperature is 2 degrees warmer than shown here, because it's a pretty linear scale as dew point and temperature go. So that definitely makes sense. We're going to let's see, we're 2 degrees above what we want to be right now. So we're going to stick above. We may actually drop down a little bit because I think we do reach saturation tonight. So we'll probably go with 2 degrees below whatever this shows the dew point, dropping down to tonight. That would probably be the best way to forecast this low temperature at our location in Grand Rapids, Michigan here. We see it dropping down to 41 there, the dew point 39. Yeah, that definitely seems a reasonable way to go. I think we get pretty darn cold tonight, getting close to a frost. There we go. As of right now, I think 33 is going to be a good low to go with right here, as we'll definitely be reaching saturation, especially if we get our boundary layer to decouple like this and we get a slackening of the winds at the surface. Let's see if that happens before 12Z right here. Yeah, you start seeing that weakening in the winds for sure. So yeah, 33 seems pretty reasonable for right now. We may bump that up a little bit just because of that 2 degrees that we are warmer than expected, but I think that's just due to cloud cover and the lack of evaporational cooling. But if we get an area of showers to develop over the region before that front passes by, I think we rapidly see that temperature drop down to what it's supposed to be, and even a little lower, dropping down into the low to upper mid 30s. So we're going to make our low initially right around 33 degrees right here. Let's erase the rest of, oops, hold on. And due to these dry conditions, I would be expecting very little in the way of precipitation, because we can see here we have some big spreads between our temperature and dew point here, meaning we are far from saturation. Also, looks like we have some low-level cloud cover that develops tomorrow, likely a stratus deck that will develop underneath a subsidence inversion that typically develops when you have cold air, northwest flow aloft going over these Great Lakes, especially with these steep low-level lapse rates we have near the surface. So that could limit our warming through the day tomorrow. But we will have sunshine, likely. I don't know though, because look at this. We have looks like a lake effect band does try to set up, which is very intriguing here. Could get some of these compressional warming deals happening again, where we could pump up to 51 degrees or so, but it could also be, I think we may go with model consensus here for the high, just because I don't want to go below what it's showing again, because that's never really worked out. But that is a reasonable way to go. That is very interesting. And 6Z, yeah, I don't see it getting below 33 degrees by 6Z tomorrow morning, or when is that? Saturday morning here. Okay. Interesting. This will be an interesting precipitation forecast, as we have that lingering low-level moisture, it appears, but also of note, we do not have much in the way of forcing down here to get any precipitation going. So likely this thin cloud layer will do nothing more than drizzle through the day tomorrow. But again, we have that subsidence in place, so cloud cover may actually, this may be actually overdoing the amount of cloud cover we have throughout the area. GFS has been trending better with high temperatures, so we'll see what that shows. But that one was, NAM3K was showing something along the lines of a high temperature right around the 55 degree mark. Alright, and here we go. We're going to take the GFS into the middle of the day tomorrow. Here we go, 12Z, and we can clearly see that our temperatures on this run do not get nearly as high, so we may take the low road when it comes to this on high temperatures. And GFS again showing that deep layer of moisture, well, small, shallow layer of moisture down near the surface below 6,000 feet here. Likely some thick cloud cover beneath the subsidence inversion that develops behind this cold front tomorrow. Also, look at that sharp inversion layer near the ground here. What is that? Right at 900 millibars. We have very sharp inversion. So that's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. I don't think we see temperatures rising too much. Let's see what this means for temperatures falling through the night. See if GFS also has this area Oh, yeah, there is upper level cloudiness there, that is for sure. 37, that also shows 37. But shows that dew point dropping down to 33, which is interesting. Let's bring this over to the NAM at the same time, 12Z, and see what that's showing. That's very intriguing right there. Let's go to NAM at 12Z, so we'll go ahead to hour 18. Okay, and this is showing 36. That was showing 37. Okay, so GFS is a little more on point with the dew point. And it doesn't have it falling away as quickly, which is interesting. But NAM and GFS are both showing our chances of low-level cloud cover are very minimal. Let's see what our HER does here, because that tends to mix out moisture a little better, which these high-pressure systems tend to do when they come into these areas. They definitely mix out a lot of the humidity, so the HER may actually be a better way to go with an environment such as this across the Grand Rapids area. But northwesterly flow is lake effect flow, just to keep that in mind. So we're going to start out at 6Z right here yet again. Temperatures dropping through 41 on the HER, and then here we go. We have that low level cloud layer build right in, and it causes temperatures to pretty much halt falling after this occurs. Low level moisture then goes on the increase. Very interesting. We see temperatures on this really, wow, it really kicks in that low level layer there. We actually may go for that 37 that we were originally thinking. NAM was 2 degrees above what we wanted to be going. And let's see what that was. I think it dropped it down to 35 degrees, which would bring us up to 37. 37 may actually be a good way to go right here, just because of that low-level cloud layer, which all models are pretty consistently showing right now. And low temperatures would not fall that much if that ended up being the case. Yeah, this shows temperatures dropping to around 36. 36 down to probably 35 there. Yeah, I don't think, I think we'll go stick with a low of 37 for the night tonight. Definitely with that low level cloud layer. 12Z. Hold on one more second. I want to make sure our low is occurring at 12Z according to the HER right here. KGRR. Okay, our low temperature right here on the HER is occurring. We got to go over to 18 hours ahead of time to get to 12Z here. Low temperature appears to be occurring couple hours beforehand. So I think 37 to 36 sounds pretty reasonable for a low. I think we go closer to 37, especially with those clouds in place. Let's actually look at 850 millibar temperatures. 850 millibar temperatures are hanging at, what is this? This is right around -3 degrees at 4.8 degrees Celsius per kilometer. Lapse rates here. So if we do that, we're looking at low temperatures right around, oh, what is that? That's 5 degrees above -2, so 3 degrees Celsius. Let's check out what 3 degrees Celsius is, because I really am not looking forward to doing math right now. 3 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, yeah, that's showing a low around 37 right here. So I think 37 is definitely a way to go, just looking at 850 millibar temperatures. Now we're going to go off to our high temperature. And high temperatures here likely are going to remain very low. And I know I've said that quite a bit, but this time we actually have that cold air mass in place, northwesterly flow, and cold air advection will be on the increase, as we can see our isobars crossing our isotherms right here, our 850 isotherms. And we are on that anticyclonic flow out of the due north pretty much here. So KGRR, here comes a NAM3K. We're going to look at high temperatures for KGRR right now. Let's zoom ahead in time. And most models, again, showing that warm nose, or that, not warm nose, that cloud layer with increased relative humidities just above the ground, and they remain to look very stubborn, especially with those steep lapse rates. Steep lapse rates would be showing me this is more of a lake effect event that we're seeing right here, which means we're going to see some breaks in the clouds if we have instability like this. We've got steep lapse rates down here. For this time of year, at least, it's going to be around 7 or 8, which is quite high for this time of year, yeah. So I think we do have some breaks of sunshine that do appear in the morning hours, rising temperatures a few degrees above what we have right here. Probably seeing temperatures rise, we'll initially say 51 degrees, but we'll have a look at the rapid refresh, or rapid refresh, HRRR right here. And going over to 18Z right here, and KGRR. Okay, and this is 0Z tomorrow. Okay, and that's today. Okay, perfect. So we're going to bring this up to 12Z right there. There's 12Z. And we're going to monitor what happens with that upper level cloud layer, and that increased humidity looks to stay in pretty strong. Lapse rates remain steep, increasing our CAPE potential here, which means we have increased wind potential as well. And clearing skies, likely in between these thick lake effect cloud bands, which are going to be in place. Likely seeing compressional warming and subsidence warming in between these strong bands, which could jack up temperatures a good amount here. likely up to 51 or 52 degrees. Yep, there we go. And then clouds come into play and temperatures stop rising, according to the HRR right there. So I think 51 to 52 is definitely reasonable for a high temperature here. I think we'll just stay with 52 for right now, just given the fact that they have been running a little warmer than normally expected for this time of year. So let's have a look at precipitation. It looks like our precipitation forecast could be more interesting than I thought, just because of that increased water vapor aloft and that thick cloud cover with, it looks like, converging lake effect bands coming off of Lake Michigan here with this northwesterly flow, putting Grand Rapids, Michigan right in the wheelhouse for potential cells that may develop. Here's 6Z. Looks like we have this weak frontal boundary across the area, but these surface winds will remain light and upper level moisture will be lacking during this period. Let's see what happens into the afternoon hours tomorrow, starting right about here. There we go. We start seeing this area of convergence right around the Grand Rapids area, which is likely a lake effect band that's going to be occurring here. You can see convergence happening. You have more of a northwesterly flow here, converging with a more northwesterly flow here. So it looks like you have a convergent band that's trying to develop right here, pretty much right across the Grand Rapids area. And then that kind of fizzles away as upper level winds decrease in the afternoon, with that dry air getting entrained aloft. It doesn't look like much of a chance for precipitation, but precipitation is still a possibility even under this area of high pressure right here. Let's see what simulated radar shows right here through the afternoon, and boom, here we go. Here's our lake effect rain bands that are developing off of Lake Michigan on that northwesterly flow, but they tend to weaken through the afternoon here just because of that high pressure really funneling in that dry air, and they don't survive very well. I think we do see, definitely we will see some clearing coming through this Grand Rapids area, so I don't think we will see much in the way of precipitation with that thin layer of moisture, likely just thick cloud cover, but in between those bands sunshine should pop up, leading to compressional warming due to the subsidence between the bands here. So precipitation, we're going to go with the big old 0 right here. Wind speeds. This will likely be pretty easy. We're going to bring the HRR up right here. In the afternoons, probably when we're going to be seeing our strongest winds, once we get that decoupling to occur, or the coupling of the boundary layer winds to the aloft winds. Here we go. We're going to be using the rule of 60%, given that we're have a deep mixed layer right here, right up to this equilibrium layer. What is that? 15 knots just aloft. Okay. And we're not going to be expecting much of this to be reaching the ground here, especially given that there's not much in the way of precipitation that's going to be in place here. So 15 knots. Make that 20 knots. Yeah, that's looking about 20 knots of upper level flow right there. So we'll probably be taking 20% or 60% of that 20 knots. Looks like winds are going to be fairly light tomorrow. But just to confirm with the HER, we're going to go over to the NAM 3K to confirm our thinking about a 60% of 20 knot wind for tomorrow. So here it looks like we have a stronger low-level flow for a brief period here at least. And again, we see 15 knots though. Heading into the evening hours, 15 knots, a little bit less instability on the NAM. Yeah, I think we go 60% of the higher number here just because they've been going and running a bit high with our temperatures, or with our wind speeds here at Grand Rapids, Michigan. So we're going to take 20 knots and multiply that by 60% to get a maximum wind speed tomorrow right around 12 knots. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to confirm our thinking with the Brian Tang website, Atmospheric Science in Albany here, just to make sure we're right on the ballpark of models. And wow, boy do we have a lot of spread coming in for our high temperature here. Looks like we're on the very high edge of that, which I am pretty okay with. So, here's our forecast just for reference. We've got our high temperature up around 52 degrees, which is right on the high envelope of guidance right now. And again, I think we do see sunshine break out, especially if we get the instability these models are showing. We need sunshine to build up that instability, and usually when we get that instability, again, we get that compressional warming occurring, especially along these boundaries of lake effect bands, which have been so prevalent the last few days. So definitely going higher than model guidance is what we should be expecting tomorrow. Low of 37. That looks pretty reasonable given what model guidance is showing right now. For both sides of the day, actually, looks like 37 is going to be our low temperature at both 6Z at night tonight and 6Z at night tomorrow night. Precipitation forecast, that could be a little bit interesting, but again, we're only seeing scattered. About 50% of model runs are showing like 1/100th of an inch of precipitation to 2/100ths of an inch of precipitation, and another half of the models are showing no precipitation. And we're seeing a split between models there. I don't think we're going to see any precipitation tomorrow, but I may put 0.01 just in case of the outside chance of a little drizzle coming into the area tomorrow. But I think we're still going to remain at 0. And for the wind, what are we seeing here? Yep, here's our gradual decrease in aloft wind speeds with maximum boundary layer winds during the afternoon tomorrow showing right around 10 knots. So I think going 12 knots for our wind, although that does sound a little scary, I am certainly willing to reason with that, because a lot of these are showing just incredibly weak winds, except for our outlier here, which is the 12Z NAM. But I don't think we'll go with that, because that is definitely an outlier. So we're going to put that in for our forecast. And yeah, that's about all we have for today. Tomorrow we're going to be starting to talk about tropical weather and the impacts it may have along the Gulf Coast of the United States. Have a great day, everybody.